Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking into a really disturbing case from Ramanagar in Nashik.
Yeah, it involved three young women, Varsha, Aarti, and Nisha. Their bodies were found. Well, the circumstances were grim.
And our sources for this deep dive are mainly the police investigation files, the actual postmortem reports, and some witness accounts.
It's a complex one. What initially might have looked like, a tragic suicide pact involving three people. That theory fell apart pretty quickly.
So our goal here is really to unpack that, to look at the events, the potential motives, the connections. How did it all lead to this?
Exactly. We need to get beyond those first impressions and understand the whole tangled web.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. The discovery. Three bodies hanging from a tree, but like you said, immediate red flags.
Right. Varsha, one of the women, she had clear marks on her cheek. Another was bleeding from the mouth. And there were signs pointing towards an attempted rape.
And the third.
Also signs of trauma, potentially similar. It wasn't clean, let's put it that way.
So the police on the scene, they weren't buying the suicide angle straight away.
No, not really. I mean, these details, plus the fact they couldn't immediately identify them, it cast serious doubt.
And there was physical evidence too, right? Something about tire tracks?
Yes, that's crucial. Car tire marks found near the scene. That strongly suggested the bodies had been transported there after death.
Which makes a coordinated suicide right there almost impossible.
Precisely. So the police had two immediate tasks. Identify these women and figure out how they actually died. They circulated photos, waited for the autopsies.
And those postmortem reports, they were the real game changer, weren't they?
Absolutely blew the suicide theory out of the water. They showed completely different causes of death and, critically, different times of death.
Okay, let's break that down. Varsha first.
Varsha's cause of death was determined as sedation, likely rohypnol, maybe mixed in chocolate, followed by rape, and then strangulation. Her time of death was estimated around 10 to 11 p.m.
Okay, devastating. What about the second woman, Aarti?
Aarti's death was very different. It was due to complications from an abortion, specifically heavy bleeding. And her estimated time of death was much earlier, between 6 and 6:30 p.m. that evening.
Wow, so hours apart already. And the third, Nisha.
Nisha died from poisoning.
Yeah.
And her death was later still estimated around 2 a.m.
So three different women, three different causes of death: strangulation, abortion complications, poisoning, and three distinct time windows.
Exactly. I mean, this is pivotal. It confirms it wasn't one event, probably not one killer, and definitely not a joint suicide.
So the police had to completely rethink this. Multiple killers, separate motives, but why hang them together?
That became the central puzzle. The different deaths suggested separate incidents, but staging the bodies together implied some kind of connection, some deliberate act to link them, perhaps to mislead.
Right, and they still needed to identify Aarti and Nisha. Were there missing persons reports filed nearby?
Initially, no. Not in the Nashik area, which was strange. It led investigators to think maybe they weren't local, maybe brought from Mumbai or Pune, perhaps.
But they were eventually identified.
Yes, they turned out to be sisters, Aarti and Nisha Jadhav. And they were from a place called Vishrampur, which isn't too far from Nashik, actually.
And their father identified them.
Their father, Tukaram Jadhav, yes. He confirmed their identities.
Okay, so let's talk about the Jadhav sisters, Aarti, Nisha, and their family situation. What do we know?
Well, reports suggest their father, Tukaram, held quite conservative views. He apparently placed a lot of restrictions on his daughters.
And Aarti, the one who died from the abortion, did she want to leave home?
It seems that way. There are indications she desired more independence, possibly had a relationship her father wouldn't approve of, and of course she was pregnant and looking for an abortion.
Was there a letter? I thought I read something about a letter.
Yes, supposedly a letter from Aarti was found stating she was leaving home on her own. But, how reliable that is. And Tukaram's own reactions were apparently a bit contradictory. Initial denial, then hints of conflict.
So underlying family tensions definitely seem part of the picture for Aarti and Nisha.
It looks that way, whether it directly led to their deaths or how it played into the wider events. That's what investigators needed to figure out.
Now let's shift back to Varsha. Another person enters the frame here, Ganesh.
Right, Ganesh. He was a classmate of Varsha's, and apparently he was in love with her, but she didn't return his feelings.
Unrequited love.
Yeah.
That can be a powerful motive. Was there jealousy involved?
Yes, particularly towards another friend of Varsha's named Ashish. Ganesh seemed quite jealous of him.
Did Ganesh have an alibi for the night Varsha died?
He did initially provide one, but it started to unravel. A key break came when they questioned his employee, a man named Roshan.
What did Roshan reveal?
Roshan admitted that he'd bought Rohypnol, the same drug used on Varsha, and he said he bought it on Ganesh's instructions.
Ah, so that directly links Ganesh to the drugging.
It does. Faced with this, Ganesh confessed. Well, partially confessed. He admitted luring Varsha to a secluded house behind a place called Narayan Chowk.
And his motive?
He said it was jealousy and anger. Anger because Varsha had rejected him, and he suspected she was involved with Ashish.
What did he admit to doing at the house?
He admitted giving her the drugged chocolate. He even admitted filming her after she was sedated. A truly horrific violation.
But did he admit to killing her? Or the others?
No. This is where his story gets complicated. He claimed Varsha actually left the house alive after he confronted her. He strongly denied killing her or Aarti or Nisha and denied hanging any of them.
So he admits to the drugging, the assault, the filming, but not the murder or the staging of the bodies.
Exactly. It leaves a huge gap. If Varsha left alive, what happened next? And who killed Aarti and Nisha and brought them all together? Ganesh's account didn't explain that.
This is where another name comes up, right? Jaidev Thakur.
Yes. Remember earlier there was a mention of someone named Vijay misbehaving with Varsha. That hints at local power dynamics. Now, the investigation uncovered late-night phone calls.
Between who?
Between Tukaram Jadhav and Nisha's father and Rajesh Thakur. Rajesh is the son of this influential figure, Jaidev Thakur.
Okay, so there's a connection between the Jadhav family and the Thakur family.
A very significant one, it turned out. Rajesh Thakur and Aarti Jadhav. They were apparently in a relationship. She was pregnant with his child.
And Jaidev Thakur, the father.
He strongly disapproved. Reports suggest it was due to caste or social standing differences. He didn't want his son involved with Aarti.
So what did he do?
According to the investigation and subsequent confessions, Jaidev allegedly decided Aarti had to have an abortion, whether she wanted it or not. He wanted to erase the problem, essentially.
This ties back to Aarti's cause of death, the botched abortion.
Precisely. Jaidev apparently tasked one of his workers, a man named Raghu, with arranging this forced abortion.
And Raghu carried it out.
Raghu organized it. But the procedure went terribly wrong, leading to Aarti hemorrhaging and dying.
And Nisha. Why was she killed?
Nisha had accompanied Aarti to the bus stop that day. Raghu apparently took her along too. After Aarti died during the abortion, Raghu, allegedly on Jaidev's orders again, poisoned Nisha.
To silence her. Because she was a witness.
That's what Raghu confessed to. He said he killed Nisha to eliminate the only witness to Aarti's death and the circumstances surrounding it. He claimed he was just following Jaidev Thakur's instructions.
That's incredibly cold-blooded. And is there evidence connecting the Thakurs or Raghu to transporting the bodies?
Yes. Remember the silver SUV mentioned earlier?
Yeah.
It was registered in Vishrampur, where the Thakurs are influential. Forensic tests found blood traces inside that vehicle.
Whose blood?
Traces matching all three victims, Varsha, Aarti, and Nisha. This was the physical link, showing they were all transported in that same vehicle, connecting Ganesh's assault on Varsha with the deaths orchestrated by the Thakurs.
It connects the separate crimes physically, even if the initial motives were different.
Exactly. It suggests a coordinated effort, at least in the disposal of the bodies.
So what about the final loose ends? There was someone named Maruti.
Right, Maruti. He was found with Varsha's phone, and phone records placed him near where Varsha was last seen. The theory is he might have been used, perhaps by Raghu or others involved in the disposal, to create a false trail for Varsha's location after Ganesh assaulted her.
Okay, so let's summarize the arrests then. Who is charged with what?
Jaidev Thakur was arrested for the murders of Aarti and Nisha, based largely on Raghu's confession about the forced abortion and the poisoning.
And Raghu himself?
Raghu was obviously central, arrested for carrying out the killings on Jaidev's orders. And Maruti. He was arrested for Varsha's murder.
Why Maruti for Varsha's murder if Ganesh assaulted her?
Based on Raghu's testimony again. Raghu claimed that after Ganesh assaulted Varsha, Maruti helped Raghu dispose of Varsha's body. The implication, though not fully clear from Ganesh's denial, is that someone killed Varsha after she left Ganesh's house, and Raghu and Maruti handled the body. Ganesh himself was arrested specifically for the rape of Varsha.
So, Ganesh for rape, Jaidev for the murders of Aarti and Nisha, and Raghu and Maruti implicated in those murders and the disposal, including Varsha's murder.
That seems to be the final picture presented by the investigation. A complex chain of events driven by different motives, initially jealousy, social pressure, fear, but culminating in a single horrific crime scene.
It's just a devastating convergence. You have Ganesh's actions against Varsha driven by rejection and jealousy. Then you have the tragedy of Aarti and Rajesh's relationship, crushed by Jadav's obsession with status, leading to her death and Nisha's murder to cover it up.
And somehow all these threads are violently tied together when the bodies are discovered hanging from that tree. It's a story of love gone wrong, yes, but also betrayal, the crushing weight of societal expectations, patriarchal control, and just brutal violence.
This deep dive really shows how much complexity can lie beneath the surface of a crime scene. It wasn't just one thing, it was multiple factors colliding.
Absolutely. Individual failings, yes, but also those deeply rooted social issues, caste, honor, control over women's choices. They clearly fueled the actions of Jada Tucker and perhaps influenced the background dynamics for the Judge sisters, too.
It's a truly heartbreaking reminder of the dangers women face, stemming from both individual malice like Ganesh's and these broader, rigid social structures.
Well, and leaves you thinking, doesn't it? How do these societal fears, these prejudices about status and control, how do they keep creating environments where such violence can happen? And what really needs to change fundamentally to ensure people, especially women, are actually safe and autonomous?